Welcome back to another episode of Spaceman 2.0, where we're here to wake up the masses, even one person at a time, one human being at a time, because a person is a corporation is a fictitious entity that has no soul. They want to turn us all into corpses and make us soulless. So what's going on here? Before we can accomplish anything in our lives, Maslow'S hierarchy of needs to be accomplished. This is a psychological aspect of our being that is just an archetypal aspect of our lives. This is the way it works. So in order for you to feel comfortable, happy, secure, and loved in your life, you need to follow these hierarchy of needs made out by Maslow'S hierarchy of needs. You can look him up, famous for making this triangle or hierarchy of needs. So let's start out at the bottom. Before you can begin any sort of comfort in your life, you need physiological needs, which is food, water, warmth, and rest. If you have enough of that, you can then think about security. If you don't have enough of that, security is something you can't even think about. So safety is next. After safety, you would like love and belonging, which is intimate relationships, family, friends, this sort of thing, which we all look forward to. Now, the next one up is esteem, which is prestige and self-accomplishments and a feeling of accomplishment. So this sort of gives you higher ability to make your self-esteem when you accomplish something. So even if you do the smallest of tasks throughout the day, you get it done, you make a few things on a list and you get it done, you feel good. You got that done. The next one is self-actualization. This is to get your full potential out of your soul, your spirit, your being. Now, until the four below it are achieved, you can't really focus on yourself and God, which it really is about, to be truly relaxed and understand what it's all about. If you've ever been away on vacation, after about 2 weeks of relaxing on the beach is actually when you can come back to yourself, because you're unwinding all the other things that have built up in your body, stresses and stuff that need to be forgiven, let go of, surrendered. This is the basic attributes of life, is we take in food and we release it. So take in your experiences and let them go. Let go of the emotional debris that you don't need to hold on to. Learn what you can from each experience and try to surrender what you can't understand and forgive it. And eventually you'll come to an understanding of that. Now, let's check out how the Illuminati keeps us away from our hierarchy of needs with their hierarchy of control. So if they want to produce a world of freedom and people full of love and life, like their WEF agenda, which is 2030, WEF, everyone will have nothing and be happy. This is a Klaus Schwab, who's a cross-dresser. Check it out. He's not a very spiritual or moralistic man. These guys are humanists. They don't believe in God. They're satanic, they're communists, and this is what they believe in for our control. So all the people and all living things on the planet will be under the control of all governments. The governments like USA, UK, Israel, etc. The next above the governments is the corporations. This is called fascism, when corporations start dictating to governments. So we have corporate fascism right now, and that's what it is. Exxon, GE, Pfizer, Monsanto. Just look at GE's logo. Just look at it. Draw a straight line from the center of each of the four rounded aspects of its circular logo, and you'll see it makes a beautiful, not a beautiful, but a swastika that's tilted on an angle, just like Hitler. Okay, Hitler took what was normal in everyday life in Asia, which is the swastika, which is the movement of creation, which is the movement of the stars in the heavens, which is the movement of the Great Big Dipper, which shows the seasons when it moves around the North Star, which means that we can tell the seasons by those Big Dipper, which means that we don't move. The stars never move. They stay the same. So we're not flying through space as they say we are. So they got us afraid of space and everything like that, not knowing where we are. That's number one thing to keep people disenfranchised, is to not know where you are. So above corporate fascism is the big banks, Citi, Chase, HSB, Goldman Sachs, etc. These big banks are dictated by the national central banks, okay, of the USA, UK, etc. Now, above them is the international central banks, like the IMF and the World Bank. The IMF is making gains with the WAF to become the world's bank, okay? It wants to take over the Federal Reserve when the US dollar is starting to collapse through this inflationary aspect of printing too much money. Since COVID, they printed more money than's ever been printed before. So basically, let's understand that the international central banks, the IMF, World Bank, are trying to control us using the agreements in the WEF and all the organizations that are part of it, which is all these corporations, all of the corporations, which is only 4 there, but think about 140, and they're all there under the WEF's control. And if they join with them, then they're dictating to our governments what we do. And even our government guys, like even Pierre, the new guy coming in, which is the same name as the father of Trudeau, which is not even his real father, but we're going for another Pierre, which is part of Deloitte, and Deloitte is a WEF member. So if you're an indirect member of the WEF, you're still dictated by them. So international central banks, and above that is the BIS. I've been telling this to people for the longest of times. The Bank of International Settlements out of Basel, Switzerland, is the international laundering house for all governments, all international banks, all central banks around the world. No one can go into that Bank of International Settlements, not even Interpol, not even MI5, MI6, not even the Mossad. No one can go in there unless you are a member. Okay? Now this BIS, Bank of International Settlements, controls it all in Basel, Switzerland. Why do you think Switzerland has the neutrality? No one can go to war there because they want to keep their money safe. The Bank of International Settlements is keeping their money safe in Basel, Switzerland. And all the Illuminati's money is safe. Anyone can launder money through that bank, any government, and you won't know what's going on. Saddam Hussein and George Bush had joint bank accounts. No one would know that because Bank of International Settlement settles those accounts. So no one gets to know that. Okay? All of these wars, Gaddafi, they've all been part of the Illuminati's hierarchy. Okay? They've been their guy. Gaddafi went to the same military academy as Prince William a long time before that, but exactly why the same academy if he's not a royal member? Okay, so now above the Bank of International Settlements is, the ones, the Committee of 300, or the ones behind the Committee of 300. These elites of the elites, the Nephilim probably control them. The demonic races control them, that's for sure. They're satanic. They're more religious than you are. They do rituals and follow more rituals than you will ever in your life because they believe in Satan. They believe in this. And look at what their symbolism is. The eye in the middle of the pyramid. Now, the eye in the middle of the pyramid is surrounded by light or a corona. The triangle is delta, or the 4th letter in the Greek alphabet. And Omicron is another letter in the Greek alphabet. And it's I. It means an eye. Okay? So they gave us these 3 Corona, Delta, Omicrons in the last few years. What? Because they are the viruses. They are the parasites. They are sucking our lifeblood from the people, the planet, and all living things. They are keeping our physiological food, water, warmth, and rest from being so easily coming to us when Nikola Tesla made free energy in 1917 and we could have had that. We're 100 years behind. They had cell phones back then. They had radio technology to remote control boats and cars on the road or on the water. All of this is made by Nikola Tesla. Okay, so before we can get to our safety and our love and belonging and our self-esteem, these guys keep us subjugated. And all living things, these corporations, these big banks, these national central banks, these international central banks, the Bank of International Settlements. Now, what's our solution for this? Well, the more we wake up, the more we can understand that there is not the need for the WAF's apocalyptic look at the world, that there's not enough food on the planet to serve everyone and we have to go eat bugs, which actually causes cancer. Check it out. You cannot digest the exoskeleton of bugs. They create other things in our body which creates cancers. They want to give us cancers not only through the foods, but through even more supposed vegetarian foods. You're not even vegetarian. How do vegetarians feel about eating bugs? Or vegans? I don't believe they would want to. So can we wake up? Jordan Peterson's also waking the people up with showing how he has another consortium going on that's in another alignment than the WEF that's here to free the people. One is that why are we not making it more easier for monogamous relationships to build strong, structured family units and houses and feeling of belonging for our children? Why are we going into this transhumanism? This has all been programmed by them. They can get us out of our true divine right to live under God's true laws and in his true ability to see the necessity for people to help out each other without needing to go to a higher government sort of control. We need to be more local. We need to take responsibility more locally. If you can take the responsibility for yourself, you can eventually take the responsibility for a wife. You can eventually take the responsibility for having children. You can eventually take the responsibility for maybe serving your community. You can eventually take the responsibility for maybe serving your region, and then maybe your province, and then maybe your country. And then maybe you'll even take another way of helping to serve the world in other ways too. So until you start off with understanding your first degree of responsibility, which is responsibility onto self, and building up these physiological safety, love, belonging, esteem, self-actualization needs, these Illuminati characters are trying to keep us away from our true responsibility. That's why the United States of America is the last bastion of freedom. The Constitution of the United States of America gives the people true self-responsibility to grow into their true self-actualization and full potential. If we go into a communistic, you own nothing and be happy sort of avenue, the creativity coming out of us will be diminished, and our spiritual light will be abolished by these Illuminati hierarchy of control. So let's keep our spiritual light alive. Don't hide it under a bushel, like Christ said. Share it with others and know that we shall come out on top without any CDOs, Corona, Delta, Omicrons coming after us. But know that they are the parasites on the planet, not the third world countries or people using gas-powered cars or people eating meat. There's more methane coming out of the gas than there is out of the cows' butts. Come on. The earth releases different cycles of hot and cold cycles. Why is Greenland called green when it's all white right now? Come on. The Vikings grew potatoes on Greenland 400 years ago. We go through cycles every 400, 500,000 years, 10,000 years. Let's not fall for the lies. The BIS is trying to say that we have a limited amount of supplies on the planet. Well, they eat whatever they want. We're told we have to eat bugs to save the planet and go into electric vehicles where cobalt and lithium is being mined in Africa, and the cobalt miners are being put through so much poverty and disrespect. You should just check it out. Children being mining cobalt. So, with that being said, maybe wake up, understand our Maslow'S hierarchy of needs, and come to understand that we are physiologically sound, safe, loved, we have self-esteem, and we can realize ourself, God within ourselves, and God is within everyone. I don't know about within some of the Illuminati. They have a certain spirit within them that's probably satanic. So look out and be careful for their satanic ways, narcissistic ways of controlling. Okay, take care. Spaceman 2.0, and I'm out.